Okay, Andrew Douglas here in the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Perhaps you have the commercial appeal push alerts on your phone. If you're like me and you have the commercial appeal app, you got a push alert today about an article talking about TVA and the contract set for Memphis this week, and kind of a showdown between the TVA and some nonprofits. Let's bring in a reporter that's been following this for months, I guess the better part of a year, Sam Hardiman, the city beat writer for the Commercial Appeal. Sam, it's been over a year since you've been following this whole deal, right?
It's been 4 years. I moved to Memphis in October of 2018. And whether or not Memphis Light, Gas, and Water, our city-owned utility, is going to leave the Tennessee Valley Authority has been on the table the entire time. So in today's case, and what we're talking about here today, I've been following a court case here in the Western District of Tennessee for about 2 years now, maybe a little less. And it involves essentially three nonprofits, including Memphis-based Protect Our Aquifer, have sued the Tennessee Valley Authority. And they allege that the contract the Tennessee Valley Authority wants Memphis to sign, which is a 20-year electricity contract, as well as what Memphis has decided it may want to sign, they have alleged that's illegal and, violates a couple different federal laws. And so there's a hearing this week that will really, where a federal judge will hear arguments on that issue and decide whether really to dismiss the case.
And right now, as it stands, outgoing CEO J.T. Young, the suburban municipalities, they've all wanted TVA to remain as the power source for MLGW, right?
Absolutely, yes. So, and I don't think, to be clear, yes, the Shelby County suburbs and outgoing CEO J.T. Young both would like Memphis to sign with TVA long term. However, I don't think that there is tremendous opposition in Memphis in general to remaining with the Tennessee Valley Authority. What people are opposed to and what these nonprofits are fighting against is the 20-year contract that J.T. Young, the outgoing, the now gone MLG&W CEO, recommended that MLG&W sign. And so that's really what's at stake here, is the 20-year deal versus Memphis is currently on a 5-year rolling contract, which means it just rolls over every year. And Memphis could at any time give the Tennessee Valley Authority 5 years notice and just say, hey, we're leaving at the end of 5 years.
So what would be the compromise, for example? I mean, okay, it's a 20-year contract. Would they like to see it down to 5, 10? Is there something else?
I think that a lot of, and this is more about the political will than about the court case. What a lot of people would like to see is Memphis just to remain on that current 5-year contract with TVA, which means it's a rolling contract. It doesn't change. And then it gives Memphis the flexibility of leaving TVA and not having to wait 20 years to do it, which is the big difference between the 5 and the 20 years is it's a 20-year notice period. If you want to leave TVA at the end of the 20-year contract, you have to essentially tell them we're leaving in 20 years instead of the 5-year notice period, which is you have to essentially tell TVA we're leaving in 5 years. It's a big difference in terms of the time horizons there.
No question. Is there an ulterior motive with these nonprofits involved here? I mean, I know probably nothing's been said, and I don't know what that would be, but a lot of times there might be a motive to kind of move something in one direction or the other. Anything come up?
I mean, I wouldn't say ulterior. I think, Protect Our Aquifer, Appalachian Voices, and Energy Alabama, which are the three nonprofits that have sued TVA in this case. And, will make their arguments, their attorneys will on Thursday. I think they've been very clear about what they want, which is they believe, and you can read this in the article at commercialappeal.com, they believe that the 20-year contracts for TVA and local power companies, including Memphis Light, Gas, and Water, signing those contracts, they believe it's bad for the environment. They believe it's bad for the implementation of renewable energy sources like solar energy and wind energy. And they also think, in case of Protect Our Aquifer, which is a water-based, water-focused nonprofit, they see the Allen fossil plant, not Allen fossil plant, the Allen combined cycle plant down here in Southwest Memphis, which is the largest MLG&W water customer, which is millions of gallons a day out of the aquifer for cooling that power plant. They see that as an environmental strain, and that's what they've argued here. And that's what they've argued, and we'll see whether or not a federal judge thinks that those arguments and the legal, what they argue are the laws that they violate, those arguments, we'll see if those pass muster. But I don't think there's any ulterior motive. I think, it's been spelled out pretty clearly in court filings.
So Doug McGowan doesn't really start officially until a couple of weeks, and I know he hasn't said anything on the record. Does his opinion really matter at this point?
I would say it certainly matters. I think that it is, what Doug McGowan says for the first time when he weighs in on the power supply is going to be very notable. And, it's going to be something that, TVA is certainly going to take note of, what, everyone else watching this process, including the Memphis City Council, who in part appointed him down there because of the mayor's argument that deciding what to do about the power supply, what is the most important thing facing the city of Memphis, is a generational choice. I think what he says, whether or not he wants to, sign a 20-year deal with TVA, or maybe the more likely option is stay on the current 5-year contract with TVA and maintain some flexibility. I think that's going to matter quite a bit to what direction this takes.
Why do you think he hasn't said anything yet? Any ideas?
Well, I mean, I've asked him the question a couple of times now, and he has said that it would be inappropriate for him to not weigh in before he's talked to staff at MLG&W. And I think he's serious when he says that. I think when he takes the job, which will be sometime in December, his last day as city chief operating officer is December 2nd. I think he's going to talk to people down there. And I think he also understands and this is just an observation, this isn't based on any conversations I've had, but just an observation. He understands how much impact whatever he says that first time is going to have. And so that would be my guess, is that he's going to maybe talk to all the stakeholders involved and then weigh in on it. So that's just a guess. Again, I'm not reporting that. That's just the Sam Hardiman hypothesis.
Right. I got it, Sam. Listen, I always appreciate our conversations. They're very insightful and in-depth. But for those of you watching right now, you can certainly read more of the showdown over TVA electricity contracts set for Memphis this week. That is the title of Sam Hardiman's piece at Commercial Appeal, commercialappeal.com. You can read it in its entirety there. Sam Hardiman, the city beat writer for Memphis and the Commercial Appeal. We appreciate your time, as always, Sam. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Andrew. You have a great week.
Okay, you do the same. Thanks.